Hello and welcome to Undead Gaming News, your one-stop shop for all things gaming. I'm your host Zombie, and first up this week, it seems a member of the Bethesda customer support team confused Redfall with Fallout 76 while replying to a user's Steam review of Redfall. As in their response to the review, they gave the typical apology for the technical issues with Redfall and gave a link to the recommended PC specs and basic troubleshooting, as you would expect. However, at the end of their response, they said, "If this does not resolve your issues with Fallout 76, please submit a support ticket and an agent will be happy to help." And while opening the Fallout 76 support link, it takes you to the Redfall support page. This is clearly just a poor copy and paste job, which just shows how little attention that they were actually paying while making the response. Just another example of the laziness at Bethesda customer support. However, over at CD Projekt Red, they've released a new update on the Witcher spin-off project Sirius via a new regulatory report. Back in March, they provided an update to say that they were evaluating the scope and commercial potential of the original concept of Project Sirius. The studio said that it was writing off the game's development expenses up to that point and had begun formulating a new framework for the project. And in the new report, they've said the work on that front is now complete. As in the report, they announced the conclusion of work on defining a new framework for Project Sirius, which is carried out by the Molasses Flood. CD Projekt also said that completing that work will enable a partial reversal of the development cost write-offs because apparently the Sirius reboot won't be quite as much of a complete do-over as expected. The reversal is the result of the decision to continue the project in the reformulated framework based on a material part of the already developed elements of the game. Unfortunately, that's all we've got on it for now, as CD Projekt declined to elaborate further. But in other news, Team Cherry's marketing and publishing manager Matthew Griffin took to Twitter to announce a delay for Knight Silksong. He acknowledged that while the sequel was meant to release in the first half of 2023, that's no longer going to be possible, simply because the game has gotten quite big. While this may not be good news, the Hollow Knight fanbase has taken the news quite well. Instead of the usual upset, it seems that they were simply just happy to get an update after Team Cherry has been so quiet lately. Now, we don't know when they're hoping to release the game, as there's no new release window provided. However, when it does arrive, it will come to the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, PC, and the Nintendo Switch. In other news, developers of the imminent System Shock remake, Nightdive Studios, was recently acquired by Atari for $10 million. In an interview, Nightdive's CEO, Stephen Kick, discussed the decision to sell to Atari, explaining that it was made because he believes that Atari is on the rise. As he said, "There is a misconception when this acquisition happened, though he had basically chained ourselves to a sinking ship, but it couldn't be further from the truth. They're on the rise here again, and we wanted to be part of that." The decision has a lot to do with Atari's current CEO, Wade Rosen, who recently bid to acquire the company after it reported another financial loss. Stevens said, "Wade is the X factor here. After he had become the Atari CEO and started changing the underlying foundation of Atari towards something more game-centric, that's when we became interested in joining forces." He also promises that the sale to Atari won't affect Nightdive's operations or who they want to work with. Although he doesn't go into any specifics about what Nightdive will be working on, he does say that there are announcements coming up related to a bunch of really obscure 1990s FPS games that they're working on. It's also worth noting that Atari recently acquired over 100 games from the 80s and the 90s, with a focus on re-releasing them, so it's possible that Nightdive Studios could be working with some of those. As for our final story this week, according to Activision Blizzard's latest financial report, the PC platform has outperformed consoles by $27 million at the start of 2023. Between January the 1st and March the 31st, Activision made $666 million on PC versus the $639 million on console. Its PC segment also outsold its console business throughout half of last year as well, though consoles did outsell PC overall for Activision in 2022. Activision's latest financial report makes a third quarter in a row that PC outsold console, and there's reason to believe that this trend will continue throughout 2023. Activision attributes its 74% increase in PC revenue since this time last year to the success of Call of Duty and Overwatch 2, but it also specifically highlights higher revenues for World of Warcraft Dragonflight and Diablo Immortal. Blizzard is currently the largest factor in the PC growth within Activision. While Blizzard games are only making half as much as Call of Duty, 72% of that revenue is on PC and just 8% is on console. Call of Duty's revenue is more evenly split, with 59% on console, 26% on PC and 15% on mobile. But that's all we have time for this week. If you have any thoughts on anything discussed this week, please leave in the comment section below as always, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.